through. You bet he can. Best. Lacazette will go for goal.
Sidestepping one, sidestepping two.
Wonderfully taken by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Hello, we're back. We just decided to take pretty much the year off last year. And we're back. We're back to talk all things Premier League. I have my esteemed colleague with me, Simon. How you doing?
Yep. Good, man. How you doing? It's good to be back.
I agree. I like I said, I'm feeling a bit rough today, and I was thinking I might have to push this back, but the week before I was in San Diego, the week before I was in Hawaii, so I just thought, listen, let's just push through. Let's push through.
Yeah.
Proper Brit fashion. Let's push through.
Just suck it up, take the emotion out of it, stiff up and let off you go.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the season starting tomorrow, it's
is it
no better time.
Are you the same as me? Is it like, I don't know why, it just feels like it's suddenly crept up. And, it's not like it's changed or anything, but it's like, bloody hell, it is. It's tomorrow.
Yeah. I have to say, it hasn't suddenly crept up for me because I've pretty much been on countdown from the end of last season, to be honest. But I think the Arsenal All or Nothing release yesterday.
Oh, that's right. Have you watched it all yet?
I've watched it all. I've watched it all twice.
Is it good? Is there like stuff in there?
I love it. No. See, the thing is, I think if you come from a coaching background, you all of the stuff that happens, you'll see and you'll have done.
Yeah.
And I think, all right, we're not doing it to the level that they're doing it to, right. but it's relative, right? Because we're coaching at our level to our level, and he's coaching at his level to his level.
Yeah.
So it's all relative. A lot of the kind of discussions he's having, a lot of the emotion, a lot of the things that he's talking about, his personal anecdotes, that kind of stuff is all stuff that we've done to try to develop motivation, that kind of thing. There's a few really good insights in there from where he's talking to coaching staff about talking to somebody, or Tavares was having a bit of a tough time, and he talks about we need to get somebody around Tavares to make him feel a bit more comfortable, and then the next clip you see Lacazette sitting down with him at lunch, and they're talking about stuff, and
was it last year's season that just finished, or the one before that?
Yeah, the season that just finished.
Right.
Yeah.
As much as I hate Arsenal, I'm looking forward to watching it.
It's a fascinating watch. It really is. You just get to see some of the mindsets, some of the characters. I think what I loved about the first episode is, the Arsenal fan base is not the best. They're pretty toxic. That's harsh because I'm present on Twitter a lot, and I talk to a lot of Arsenal Twitter. And the vast majority of them are brilliant. The thing is, the terrible ones often speak the loudest and talk the most shit, and so the fan base takes a reputation based on its worst people, which is human nature. For some reason, we look at the worst and we decide to kind of tar everyone with that brush. And they can be pretty stupid, to be honest. And in the first episode, they go through all of the Ramsdale abuse that he was getting. People standing in front of Arteta's car after the Man City or Chelsea loss, and hammering him through his car window, and just all of that sort of stuff that you never do in any other industry. And it's just, it really is a fascinating watch. I've thoroughly enjoyed watching. It's the first 3 episodes, and then the next 3 episodes come out next week, and then there's a following 2 the week after. So good watch, definitely a good watch.
Nice, man.
And then it's all coming before the season tomorrow, which I'm just buzzing for. I'm absolutely buzzing for.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it as well. It's but before we even kick into that, it's not my podcast. Can we spare a quick thought for It's Coming Home? It finally came home. The women got it done.
Yeah,
Well done, ladies.
massive. It's almost becoming a bit bittersweet now, because whenever there is something that we collectively should be happy about, there's always the twat that wants to ruin it,
Yeah.
And I saw some stuff again on Twitter. People were saying, the women have finally done what the men couldn't, and they're like, well, no, they didn't. They won the women's Euros.
Yeah,
not the men's Euros. And it's like,
yeah,
are you like seriously?
Yeah. I saw they actually queued up a game in October against the US women.
Oh, so that'd be
a hell of a game.
Yeah, looking forward to that one for sure. I think I'll get my team around and we'll watch that. And
it's nice,
loads of banter flying.
Yeah, I mean, I think I missed the first two games, but I watched the rest of their games, and the games are brilliant. The back and forth. It was, apart from even the Norway, the 8-0 game, it was, obviously that was ridiculous, but it was, it was really cool to see. I didn't realize this. They set a record for attendance for Euros. I'm like, and it's easy to sit back and go, what, like more than the men? And it's like, yeah, they did, and that's brilliant. That is great.
For me, it just goes to show, because we've had this argument forever, in that nobody wants to watch women's football. Why should they get paid the same, if they're not bringing in the same? And it's just, it's always been a case of, for me, it's always been a case of, well, look, you've spent how many years promoting the men's game? So of course the men's game is big, because it's had the benefit of all of the money being poured into it for the promotion, and and all of that sort of stuff. We haven't even began to promote women's football,
right?
But they're doing the same job. You can't. I've always said, if you had a law office in two cities, and one was an established practice for 20 years, that's had tons of clients and was raking in money, and then you opened a new office that didn't have the clientele, are you going to pay those people less just because they haven't had the benefit of developing their clientele?
Right.
And so it never makes sense to me. But since they started showing the women's Premier League games on TV in England, the viewership has quadrupled. Yeah, people will want to watch it.
Well, and it's, I always sort of go back. We're a little bit spoiled here. Obviously, we're up in in Oregon with the Portland Thorns. One of the best supported women's sports teams. Forget which sport, just any of the team. Sure. In the world. So it's easy. Sometimes I was like, oh yeah, they sold out Providence Park again, and you almost become numb to the fact that we live somewhere where the women, that particular women's team is so well supported. So it's hard to sort of, reset your brain occasionally. Like, what? They're not even showing these games on TV? What? They're playing in a high school stadium? What?
Yeah. Yeah. I have to say, I was disgusted that that this women's Euro, one of the stadiums was Man United's academy ground. I'm sorry, Man City's academy ground.
Yeah, I know.
Like, oh my goodness, seriously. I mean, there's a lot of clubs there that should be embarrassed, not only for the treatment, but then also for just not having the kind of wherewithal and the foresight to have actually made some money.
Yeah.
That have sold out. That have sold out all of those grounds pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if even if like you quote unquote your heart's not in supporting that side of the game, make some money off it. I mean, bloody hell, they have so much money coming in.
Yeah.
They played one at Bramall Lane as well, which is a bit weird, but whatever.
Yeah. It's a bit. It's a bit crazy, isn't it? Yeah. But while we're talking about substandard stadiums, let's talk about substandard team. Man United, how are you going to get on?
That is a
It's a great
at
segue.
least
It's a
start
great
with
segue.
Spurs. And we're picking back up where we left off a year ago. Actually, for the people, for the dozens of people that are going to be watching this, we have this group text going back and forth as well, and it's you can tell the season's getting close because it's starting to get brutal again.
yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, it's there's a part of me, and shoot, we've been through this over the past 3 or 4 years. We got a new manager, we got it. As a fan, this one does feel different. No disrespect to Ollie. He came in. He was never going to do the job that he was supposed to. He was a fan favorite. Whatever. I have no idea what the philosophy was, or even the common sense behind hiring Ralph Ragnick. Resume, whatever that was aside. Having an interim, you're always going to have issues, like a substitute teacher. But Ten Hag, he's done it before. He seems to be, someone who's capable of handling a big club. Unless we can say Ajax isn't exactly, it's not Barcelona, but at the same time, we have Mourinho in here, and one of the biggest, most charismatic, whichever way you feel about him, managers in the world, and he struggled. So from that perspective, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I mean, the preseason games, they were all right. I mean, it was always nice, if for no other reason, just so I could call up my brother as a Liverpool fan and say we beat them 4-0.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's this Ronaldo thing again. It's just what.
Yeah.
This whole thing on the weekend. I know it's easy to jump on the sort of the bandwagon about he left at halftime. It's a distraction. It's almost like he's not bothered now. He does not care.
I think even if he was given permission to leave early, he should have stayed.
Yeah,
and just because for 2 weeks prior, he hasn't been at training. He didn't come back for when training camp was supposed to start. He's away in this place. He's away in this place. Then there's the news. He wants to move. He wants to leave. He's forcing his way. He's forcing himself away, and all of this sort of stuff. Yeah. And now you're back at the club, and this is why I said to you, he doesn't love this club.
Right.
You're back at the club that catapulted you into that stratosphere,
put you on the map. Yeah,
with people that showed massive faith in you when you were a kid. And you always speak very fondly of Sir Alex Ferguson and of the club and everything. Now, take into consideration the behaviour that you've shown over that. And we might not know the full extent. It could have been very Harry Kane, like at the beginning of the previous season, where it wasn't that he didn't turn to training, he was given extra time. We don't know the ins and outs of it.
Sure.
But this is what the reality is, that this is what fans think is happening. Now, I'm not saying that a player should live their life according to fans, but this is staying at the ground for 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, you just should have done it just to not bring any more disrepute upon the club.
It's sort of like, like when you get subbed out of games and you get mad, you take your shirt off, you throw it on the ground, you're just frustrated. I get, you can sort of put the human side on it, looking at it from his perspective. I don't know what this latest one was, but, you could understand somebody doing something like that. But again, to your point, the fans just see that's, you don't care, I mean, with the number of people he's got advising him, there's a cynical side of me that says he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how that's going to look. He knows how that's going to, put the club in a situation. And, we can argue back and forth as we have about his effectiveness. I mean, he was the reason we did as good as we did last year, and that's not good. Yeah. So he's obviously, I think I was actually talking to my son about this the other day because he's on TikTok and he tells me every week he's going to get, did you hear they're going to buy Ronaldo? I was like, nobody's buying Ronaldo. And as a 37-year-old and arguably one of the best, I don't think he's even arguably one of the best players, to ever play the game, it's got to sting a little,
Yeah.
And I always sort of, I don't know, I just try to put that human side on it. You're 37, you've got 1 or 2 years. And unfortunately for him, this last year has been a massive, as well as he's done individually, it's a big decline for him. He's never had to experience this, right? So now you've got a new guy coming in. And I imagine him and Ten Hag have had obviously conversations, but I keep thinking like, I wonder how those conversations went. Hey, I'm going to need you to breaking it way down. I'm going to need you to break it, to start pressing more. I'm going to need you to start chasing back a little bit more. No, that's not what I do. I score goal. Well, sorry. And Ten Hag's now in a position where he's like, you can't not play Ronaldo, sort of. I mean, you can, but then that brings other problems in. So how do you do it? He doesn't fit into that style.
And so, and this is what I was saying this morning. The reason I feel like Man United are going to struggle is because although they've brought in a manager with experience, Champions League experience, who, for all intents and purposes, looks like he's a no-nonsense guy.
Yeah,
Mourinho was that guy too, but nothing else is changing.
Yeah.
They're still throwing money at problems. And it's like, look, at some point, the model has to change.
Right.
You are going to have to break this thing right down to its foundations, kick the tires on everything, and then start to throw away what's old, what's not necessary, what's not working, bring in the new pieces, bring in the new parts, and start to build that sucker right back from the beginning. And I just don't see. I almost feel like Man United have said, "Well, look, we're Man United. Like this house is a stately home. We're not going to rebuild this home, but maybe we can patch the roof." And they're trying to patch the roof while then having to try to change out little bits and pieces of and it's just like it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to put a roof on that house.
Yeah, it's like 1992 Liverpool.
Right.
We were a team in the 80s. Well, yeah, you were, and now it's the 90s.
Right.
I could see. I mean, let me ask you this: do you think? I think I know the answer already. Let's say you could pick up Frankie de Jong before the preseason, which this is the longest transfer saga in history if it goes through. And by all intents, Barcelona do not seem like too crazy about keeping him. Asking him to take half his pay cut or half his wages away. Does that change anything? I mean, because I look at the team and you're like, we've got issues, same as every team, but we got firepower up front. Midfield is obviously a bit of a mess. We have quality in the back. I mean, we do. It's just that, to your point, I don't know what that piece is that's missing.
Yeah, and I don't think it can be questioned really. Man United do have they do have strong pieces.
Yeah,
whether they've got a strong spine, I'm not sure about that, but they have strong pieces. The problem with having strong pieces without a strong spine, if things don't really kind of go your way, it's gonna fall flat. You need that. You need that structure to it. For me, it's funny because Gary Neville was always talking about Arsenal don't have a strategy, don't have a plan. They don't know what they're doing in the transfer market and that kind of thing. And I feel like Ten Hag has a better idea of what he wants in terms of player profile. Maybe he wants people with that mindset, who are winners and give all players. And these are players he's worked with, which is why he's trying to bring them back, because he knows that character. But the problem for me is the rest of what you've got there is not necessarily attuned to the playing philosophy you want to implement.
Yeah.
And that is, for me, going back to Arteta's first season. In Arteta's, when he first took over, he couldn't play his way because the players he had it wasn't possible. So he had to try to tailor something to the players. And we won the FA Cup from it.
Yeah.
And then the following season, he then started to implement his own style of play, but even then didn't have the players. And so we've gone through a bumpy number of years as he's cemented the playing system, and now he's bringing in the players that will fit into his system nicely, which is why we're now starting to see that fluid, that lovely football again. For me, the worry is with Man United, does Ten Hag play to the players he has? If he does that and it doesn't work, remember, you don't have that spine, you don't have that presence that can change things, right? So how does that go? Now bringing in players that can try to start to fit into his own system. Again, if things don't go right with substandard players for his system, again, you're missing that presence and that leadership and that backbone and that spine. You know, are Man United going to give him the 4 years and say, I know you signed a 3-year contract. We're going to give you the 3 years. No matter what happens, we'll give you the 3 years. At the end of 2, we'll talk about an extension.
Yeah.
Or are they going to make that same mistake of,
we didn't win the league. You're out.
It's not even that. It's October. It's October, and we're in 8th place. We're not going to get into Europe, and a knee jerk, and so
luckily we have probably out of the big clubs, we have the easiest opening schedule out of everybody. I think we play Liverpool like our 4th game, and then everybody else, in theory, it either is or should be in the bottom half of the table at the end of the year. But it's kind of I don't know. I mean, there's a part of me. It's the same as every club, every fan, every new season. I watched all their games in the preseason. It looks different, right? There's a fresh start feeling on everybody, but I don't know. It just feels a little different. I'd be interested to see how Eriksen fits into this team. I think he was a brilliant pickup. Then you've got Martinez comes in. I know you're going to hate this, but I still think Varane can play if he could stay healthy for more than 12.5 minutes. Maguire, I think, just was an easy target last year for all of our problems. I think he'll be fine. The new back. I mean, but yeah, when we still got McFred in the middle, McTominay and Fred in the middle, and so that's why I'm like, even if De Jong comes in, is it, it's still. We have a decent spine, but it's not, he plays up front. Martial had a hell of a preseason, Is he really going to be doing the work with his little gloves on all the time? Come on.
Yeah. I heard Martial's injured. I saw earlier today.
Is he?
I'm not sure on the validity of that.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
He left the glove on during a game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll say what I said to you in the text. Concentrate on Brighton this weekend. Don't get ahead of yourself, because that's not going to be an easy game. Did you play them end of the season 4-0 with it?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember. Yeah.
So I mean, listen, just try to reduce it from 4-0 to a smaller loss and go from there.
Would be don't even how's your book? You guys, I mean, transfer market, man, you guys did all right. You've had a good summer.
We've had probably one of the best summers of any club I can think of in God knows how long.
So let me ask you this, as a and I know you've obviously followed Arsenal a lot closer than the average fan. Is there still that sort of cautiously optimistic, or you're like, this is it, lads? This is the year.
I believe we just have, just absolute. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, just the characters we have at the club. We are so moving in the right direction. It's just unbelievable. Bringing in Jesus. We've already got Mohammed. Add Arteta to that, and that's like the Holy Trinity to me.
You got Zinchenko. Where's he end up playing?
So Zinchenko coming in. I mean, already, he's had a massive impact on just the way we play. And so, I mean, he's a steal. Was it 30 million or something?
Yeah,
absolute steal.
Honestly never second guess Pep, but I mean, why'd you let him go?
Yeah, I mean,
he's not playing.
Insane. I'm not even optimistic. I'm just buzzing for the season to start. For me, we lost out. We lost out on top 4 last season and you can kind of point at a few games.
Yeah,
the Everton game where we were 1-0 up and lost 2-0 and just didn't turn up on the day. That was one. Palace, where Palace just absolutely done a tactical number on us, beat us, I think 3-0, was another one. And then the Newcastle game, where we lost that 2-0 right at the end, and literally we just had to win that game and Everton, and we'd have been in, right?
Remember that, yeah.
So there's a few games that you can kind of look at and say, those games have cost us. Those games are pivotal. I think where we are now with the experience that we had from last season and those young players getting that experience, and then having added Jesus, having added Zinchenko,
we've won it
4 times each.
Yeah.
It's I think what we're going to see is, like, we didn't draw many games last year. We won more games than Chelsea did last year. So we won like 23 games or something but we lost like 13.
Yeah.
I think I can see us this season halving the number of losses, maybe picking up a few more draws, but we'll definitely be adding maybe 20 points onto our point total. So, what I love at the moment is that we've been totally written off.
Yeah.
Totally written off. And I'm happy with that, just fine. Let's just focus on picking up the points, focus on accumulating the points. Let's see where we are at Christmas and just, go from there. And at the end of the season, if we can achieve what we want to achieve, I'll be talking the loudest, I can tell you that much. No one's going to get away from it. I'm going to be on everyone.
All right, let's get on with these predictions.
Predictions. You go first. So, top 4.
Top 4. I got City winning it again. I got Liverpool at second again. I don't know how tight that's going to be. I have that automatic bias being a United fan. I think Liverpool may struggle a little bit more this year. I don't. I think losing Sané is going to be bigger than they have. I'm not sold, as you know, on Nunez yet. Hopefully, proves me wrong. But whatever. You're going to hate this. I got Spurs at 3. And then I wrote it down. And I put a little arrow going the other way. I got one of us in 4th, and I think it's going to be you. 5th, Chelsea. I think they're just a little bit of a mess. Obviously, with the ban they had and stuff like that. And then rounding out the top. What would that be? 7. So Chelsea would be 6th. I got Villa coming in at 7.
Okay.
No Everton.
Yeah, keep them well away. That's terrible shot from last year.
Worse.
Terrible shot from last year.
What you got?
So let's get on to Spurs, but real quickly. I'll ask you a question.
All right. As Wayne's not here.
So you've put Spurs for 3rd, and a lot of pundits, a lot of the people that get paid to do this have said similar.
Right.
So if Spurs don't make it, should we be firing Conte then? Because this is what's been said about Arsenal, and Arsenal didn't have the squad that could, get into the Champions League. Yet when Arteta didn't make top 4, it was a massive failure, and he should be fired.
Yeah.
So what about Conte?
I think this year, if Spurs don't finish high enough or win something, whatever that means, I think the first step, I gotta think Harry Kane's out. I can't see him going through it. He went through it last year with City. There's so much promise now with Spurs, and I think legitimate. I think the way they played last year, especially that second half of the season. Conte did a hell of a job. I don't know if he stays, if players start leaving, but if you're a Spurs player, it hasn't felt this good in a while, right? So maybe it's this year, go broke. I don't know. I don't know.
So the way I see it going is their transfer window is being raved about, but I can only see that they've really improved in one position. They've added one starter. That'd be Basuma.
Okay. Yeah.
And so then you're either playing him and Højbjerg in the middle, which is pretty secure when you're playing with a back three. Fine, no disputing that. But they have no creativity. They've got pace, they've got goal threat, but that only works on the counter.
Yeah,
and that's how they played.
Yeah,
that's how they played. Yeah, exactly. They played like that at the end for the whole second half of the season. That's how they played. Do you really think they're going to get away with that again this year?
People are onto them now, but it wasn't like it was a secret last year how they play. Kane drops in, Son goes over the top, and was he top scorer? No, Salah. No, it was joint, right?
Son, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. For
me, I just think
who's your top 4?
My top 4. I'm going with Liverpool to win.
All right.
I think I take what you said about Nunez and Mane not being there's a big loss, but Diaz took to it was like a duck to water. So I think he can definitely take Mane's place. Nunez, for the amount of chances Liverpool create, will score goals. And I think he'll do that better than Firmino. Jota becomes the next question: who plays Nunez or Jota? But either way, you're going to get goals. So, and then everywhere else, I just don't see that they've been disrupted that much.
Okay.
So Liverpool for me, Man City, I think have not depleted, but they've weakened their squad more than they've strengthened it. I know people will say, but Jesus never got to play that often, and Zinchenko wasn't exactly a regular either. But the thing is, when you're in 4 competitions, you need to have that level of depth, and I just don't see them having. Right, exactly.
And then, but where do you feel on they brought in the saviour, the great white hope, Haaland? He's going to bang in 50 goals this year.
Well, can he stay fit? Is going to be the question. If he's not fit, who's the next striker?
Yeah.
Who else is there to get goals? You relied a lot on Sterling. You relied a lot on Jesus. You relied a lot on Haaland. Listen, for the amount of chances Man City score, create.
Yeah,
he's going to score goals. He's definitely going to score goals. I don't think they will play to. I don't think Haaland suits Man City from a point of view that they don't break and he doesn't get to use his pace, which has been, his big thing over the last few years.
Yeah,
but he's sharp in the box. He knows where the ball's going to fall. His movement and his reading of the game is very good. And Man City field. Well, so yeah, I mean,
I just give crap. Yeah.
yeah, it's a case of in the Community Shield, he wasn't sharp enough to take the chances.
Yeah.
You could see that he was lacking sharpness,
Yeah.
but the ball kept falling to him.
Yeah.
He kept getting those chances. His reading of the game is getting him into the positions. He's just not sharp to score.
Yeah.
Give him 5 games, get him up to speed, and he's just going to be bagging. Because Man City, that's pretty much what they do. They ping you in your box, and then they find some way to get the ball into space in your box.
Yeah. The question is, and I don't know if this is fair. I mean, there's a talent like that doesn't come around very often, but he's done it in the Bundesliga. Great. That's the knock on Bayern Munich. Yeah, you're brilliant all the time, but you're playing in the Bundesliga. It's like Celtic for years up in Scotland. It's like there's nobody else to play. So is Haaland legit, or is he, which he obviously is to an extent, but is the expectation too high for him coming into the Prem?
Well, I mean, he's played Champions League, right? He scored goals at Champions League level, so you'd think he's legit, but time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah.
So as I was saying about Man City, I just think they've weakened more than they've strengthened. I think they've kind of left themselves in a position where if Cancelo gets injured, who plays left back for them? If Haaland gets injured, who's going to be the go-to striker? Used to be able to bring on Sterling to change a game with his pace and his trickling, his directness, and now he's not going to be there. So I think they'll that will have them struggle a bit more than they have. And to be fair, they haven't struggled at all in the last 4 years or so. So third place, I am going with my beloved, my Arsenal.
Can't argue with that.
I think.
How far behind? What are these points, you reckon?
So I've been tweeting, I think Arsenal will pick up an average of 2.1 points per game. So that's in the 80s for points. I can see us being maybe
10 back.
Yeah, maybe something like that. 10 points, maybe 12 points back off whoever's in second place. Whoever's in second place. I think Liverpool run away with it.
Oh, really?
I think they'll go into the 100 points this season.
Huh.
I'm not sure that Man City will have the capacity to do that. So I think we'll be much closer. We'll be much closer to one of them, which I'm thinking is going to be Man City. I just think we've added the right pieces, and that main piece, Jesus coming in. We struggle. I mean, listen, last season we had Lacazette playing up front. You did a great job of linking the game. You dropped into midfield, who helped us back to goal, helped us in our process and our build up and our style of play and everything. But he scored 2 open game goals all season. And so already we've got Jesus who scored 7 in 5 friendlies.
Yeah.
So I think, in some of those games where, I think back to the Liverpool game, the Liverpool game where they beat us 4-0. Lacazette's had a couple of really good chances in that game.
Yeah.
Where we could have been 2-0 up in the first half. And now having Jesus there, that dynamic changes. So I think we'll be picking up a lot more points this season. And, we've been roundly written off. That William Saliba coming in, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch him. Wow. He is an absolute Rolls Royce of a defender. Just poise, power, strength, everything you want from a footballing centre back.
What's your back line look like?
Solid.
No. Who? Like names?
So I think our back 4 for the first game is going to be Zinchenko left back, who will tuck in midfield.
Right.
You're going to go Gabriel and Saliba as the 2 centre backs. and Ben White as the right back because Tomiyasu's injured at the moment. That's the back four that started against Chelsea when we beat them 4-0. You know, so I do genuinely think defensive structure, defensive ability, we are pretty sorted.
Yeah,
we've got a cracking goalkeeper, midfield, the creativity that we've been able to bring in there now, but we've got a little bit of steel in there as well. And then going forward, the free-flowing Saka, Martinelli. Martinelli's had a great preseason. Jesus can drop in, can rotate. You know, it just looks pretty. So I'm backing us to finish third.
Third, fair.
In fourth place, I'm going to go with Chelsea. And I'll tell you, there's a part of me that wants to say Spurs but can't say it. But at the same time, I won't call it a worry for Spurs because I'm hoping it happens. Right. But the thing for me for Spurs, like I was saying, is they haven't brought in creativity, and teams I think went at them last season because they had the hangover from Nuno Espirito Santos, or whatever his name was. And so teams thought, well, look, you've been a bit ropey, we can get after you. And it was that sentiment, it was that level of kind of feeling until Spurs had gone a period of time where they'd lost 1 in 7. And then things started to change, right? This year, everyone's saying, no. This is not just how Tottenham will play. This is Conte's way of playing. So we have to adjust our setup to play against the way he's going to play. And that is, they are going to want to sit back, soak pressure, hit us on a break. And so your likes of Brighton, who went there to try to play them, Southampton, who went there to play them, Wolves, who went there to play them. I don't think these teams will be doing that this year. I think they'll be sitting back, compact. There you go, Spurs. There's the ball. Now break us down. And then hitting Spurs on the break. And you know, I watched their game recently. Who did they play?
Where were they preseason? Were they here?
No, so they went out east, I think.
Okay.
But they came back. They played against Sevilla. They tied against Sevilla. They lost their last game 1-0, and you know that was against Roma. That Roma beat them 1-0. Jose Mourinho came back and beat them 1-0.
I remember that one. All right, well, I heard about it.
And Mourinho just sat in, and then set piece, scored on a set piece, and then sat in. You know, and they couldn't break it down. Like 10 shots, they had 65% of the possession. 10 shots, none on target. Right, and this is the thing for Spurs. I think there's going to be so many more teams that would do that. That if they, at the moment, they haven't brought in an attacking midfielder, somebody who can unlock something. And I'm not talking about a player who can pick it up and run and dribble and beat a few players. I'm talking about somebody who, from a little bit deeper, can start to find those passes, an Eriksen type. And so I think they'll struggle, and I think Chelsea will have their own struggles, but I think Chelsea have got are much more kind of ingrained in how they play, and they've got the goals in the team when teams try to sit back against them.
Yeah.
So Chelsea for me, and then I'm going Spurs 5th. I'm going Man United 6th, and for that 7th place, I am going to go with, you said Villa, right?
Yeah.
Everton. No, I'm not. I'm joking. Not in Everton. That's a joke. We'll get onto Everton in a bit. Don't worry about that. But for my 7th place, I am looking at Wolves.
Oh, all right.
I think a lot of teams slept on Wolves last year.
But does that mean they will this year?
I mean, it's a good question. I still think Wolves will be seen as a team that shouldn't be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Because of how they fell away at the end of last season.
Right.
So yeah, that's my
right.
top 7. So let's go relegation. Who's getting relegated?
I've got 4 for 3 spots. I got Forest,
Okay.
up and down. I don't know a whole ton about them, but I just I don't see anyone else other than them, along with Fulham and Bournemouth, getting bounced down. My other one, maybe a little bit of a surprise, is Leicester. I've got I just think they've just been massively underachieved in the last 2 or 3 years, and I just think the decline may continue. But they would be my 4th after those 3.
So you don't think there's going to be one team that comes up that does really well in that first few months, and then that's enough to save them?
Sort of a Leeds from 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean Leeds. Then there was Sheffield United before that, and the Wolves. I think when they came up, were the same. And
so we have it was Forest,
Fulham, and Bournemouth, wasn't it?
It was all 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
And again,
I mean,
Fulham I could maybe see, but I just no, I guess I don't see, other than maybe Leicester, and I know you're going to throw an Everton here. I don't see anyone else doing bad enough to get relegated. Now, maybe, full disclosure, I don't know a lot about Bournemouth. It's more a lack of others. But yeah, I feel like that's a solid 3 or 4.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a safe one. And after your prediction last year, I definitely would urge you to go safe.
Who you got?
I'm going with. I'm going to go Forest.
Okay.
And my reasoning for that is Forest have brought a lot of new players into their club. And they've been very active, the most active team in the transfer window, I believe. I think they've brought in
Lindegaard.
8 or 9 players. I think the problem they're going to have is meshing them. It's going to go one or two ways. They've got a really good, really talented young manager, from what I hear.
Yeah.
So they're either going to click, young squad, new players, this whole kind of everyone putting everyone on each other's backs and trying to get them through it, and they're going to click, and they're going to do really well first half of the season, or they are really going to struggle.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like they'll struggle. So I'm going Forest. Yeah.
Okay.
Above them, I'm going to go Fulham. There's a part of me that wants to see how the Arsenal fan base reacts to Leno getting relegated, because we've just sold Leno to Fulham.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And part of that is because the stick Ramsdale got for having relegations on his CV, there are still fans that are saying, why are we selling Leno? Leno's the better goalkeeper. So now if he gets relegations on his CV, what happens? What happens to those people? Will they quiet down and go away? That's the question I have. So I'm sorry, Bernd Leno he was such a great servant to our club. Never complained, never moaned. When he first came in, he wasn't given the shirt straight away, didn't moan, worked hard, got it. When he lost it, didn't moan, got his head down. I've got nothing against the guy. In fact, it's probably my second favourite German keeper of all time.
After Ollie?
No. After...
you can't like Lehmann.
Yeah, it's Lehmann, of course.
That guy needs a straight jacket. He's mental.
Doesn't matter. He's an invincible. That's what matters.
Yeah, well, yeah, I love that.
And so, but I really want to see the reaction of some of these Arsenal fans. So Fulham in 19th spot. I really don't want to say this one. I really don't. It's either going to be, for me, Brentford.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they had second season syndrome and all that.
Yeah.
And they didn't really, they had a really mixed kind of patch in the middle. So Brentford, Everton, between, I see them. I mean, Frank Lampard looks woefully out of his depth. So yeah, I'll pick one. I'm going to go. I'll tell you what. There was a video that came out of Everton recently. I don't know if you've seen it. They had a guy in their stadium who's been doing some delivery drop-offs for Ukrainian families, that need stuff. And so they were in a friendly, for his service to the community. They had him on the bench and subbed him into a game to take a penalty.
What?
Yeah. It's a beautiful story. I was really touched by it, and that kind of halved the hatred that I had for Everton. So
it wasn't like a George Weah's brother type thing where they thought he was brilliant.
Oh no. I mean, he was a big guy. Let's put it that way. He was probably about the same stature as old fat Frank. And so yeah, he's definitely not a football player. But he took the penalty. He scored. I mean, fair play. The other keeper didn't move for it, but it was a really nice, touching way to bring community and club together. And so for that, the respect that I have for that, I'm going to save Everton. So I'm saying Brentford to go down.
All right, that's fair. How do you reckon? My other dark horse for relegation was Leeds. Jesse Morris, obviously. I don't know if it was just the new manager bounce that just was the right person at the right time. Rah, let's have huddles and high fives and everything like they do in America. The Ted Lasso effect. But I mean, are they close for you, or are they sort of mid-table safe?
I think they're mid-table safe, to be honest. I
lost Phillips.
Calvin Phillips. Yeah, they did. But they've been pretty active in the transfer market as well. They brought in the American lad. What's his name? Brendan Aronson from RB Salzburg, which will be a good buy. They brought in Tyler Adams for RB Leipzig, which is a good buy.
Okay.
And so where they've lost the one midfielder, they've gained two pretty good midfielders, with a good amount of experience, who are young and energetic. So I think they'll be okay. They're not going to set the world alight, but they'll be okay, I think. Okay, so let's move on to top scorer. Who's going to be a top scorer?
I've got to go with Salah, Mo Salah again.
Good job.
Or not again, but this year. I just he signed his new contract. He seems to obviously be settled. He's been tempted away. I had City going top. I can't really argue with your thing about Liverpool, though. I don't think maybe they're going to run away with it. But with Nunez coming in, I don't think it would be Salah that gets benched if he has to. Everybody goes through little dips in form, but I put a note down on my little thing. I think he could win the Ballon d'Or this year.
Okay.
But then it's hard I don't know if he can win it if Liverpool don't win the league. That's FIFA just being stupid. But yeah. I think he was one of the best players in the world last year. He was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly agree. I think Salah for top scorer is a great shout, if I'm honest.
However,
I think.
However, don't say something silly now.
I can't get away from Haaland.
You did.
But I'm not going to go there.
Now go on.
I think Nunez? I'm really not sure.
Okay. While we're talking about it, Nunez, he's done well in the Portuguese league for a season and a half. Not that he doesn't. He's a monster. I mean, the dude is built like a brick. You know what? But I don't know. That's my only. Haaland's going to get goals. He's different class. But Nunez.
The thing is, he's scored. He's got some Champions League pedigree. He's scored some Champions League goals. I just feel like if you're a player that can find the back of the net in a Liverpool team, you're going to score goals. They create their chances to the point where their expected goals is so high because they literally give you the ball in the 6-yard box. Without the keeper in the goal, pretty much it's they walk it in, and so I'm going to go with Nunez for top scorer. I can't get away from. First of all, I think they'll win the league, and I think they're gonna just kill it. And I think he's going to have a massive contribution. The caveat is, and he did a decent job of this against Man City in the Charity Shield. The link up, he's not a Firmino who drops in and who drops in and allows those two diagonal runners to go in behind. He's not that guy, but he's not really a target player either. He's not someone they're just going to lob the ball up to. Yeah, and so that for me, I'm not sure how that dynamic works. So if that doesn't work, they'll struggle.
How does it work with him and Salah? Do they both play?
I mean, yes, Salah will play off the right for sure, and he'll play up top. And this is the thing: when they've had Firmino or they've had Jota, they've basically dropped into those deeper positions in between the lines, sucked in a centre back, and then Salah's isolated his fullback 1v1 or he's made the diagonal running behind. Yeah, Nunez, I don't think can do that. I don't think he's as nimble as a Jota or a Firmino. So, like dropping into those spaces, you're not going to get anything kind of tricky out of him or anything. I feel like he's going to be the striker that's getting on the end of things. So how does the build-up work now? That's the bit that I haven't really been able to see yet. So I'm going to stick with Nunez.
Bold.
Just because I think they're going to just blow the league away. So what do we have next? Who will be your first manager sacked?
I have for purely points reasons, I got Marco Silva from Fulham. And I actually did a little bit of not research like into every single team, but of my bottom three or four. So in the first 7 games, Silva plays Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, and Chelsea. That's 4 out of the first 7. They're not taking points off any of them. It becomes then a question of, they're new, right? And you can see, them sticking. Obviously, they done well to get up into the Prem, but I feel, and shame on me for not looking this far up, but I feel like those teams are the first to make changes. Chelsea could have a bad start; they're not going to fire Tuchel. Ten Hag stayed for forever. Some of these bigger teams that may struggle. Even we talked earlier about Spurs. you know, if Spurs struggle a little bit, they're not going to get rid of Conte right away. But these bottom ones are like, oh, it's a big change. You can't handle it. You can't handle it up here. We got to make a change. So, you know, I can't see them nicking any points off of those. I forget who the other three are. Yeah, I did sort of put a little circle around Scott Parker from Bournemouth. Same reason. Just, you know, they're bottom dwellers, and that's, I think, where it's going to come.
Interesting. So,
and there's the World Cup.
Yes.
Because that's a handy break to get rid of somebody right before that break. Start working with the players. It's not like everybody's focused on the World Cup. You're not focused on that team then. So could be early.
I think another interesting thing about the World Cup is the bigger teams are going to lose more players. How many teams are the likes of Bournemouth and Fulham going to lose to the World Cup? So bringing in somebody during that time gives them an opportunity to work with the squad for a few weeks before they get back into it. So yeah, I mean, it's a great shout. I am excuse me. I am gonna go Fat Frank.
You don't like him, do you?
I think Frank Lampard is gonna. I mean,
because of Everton's start. You think they're gonna start right down the bottom, or they just?
I just think. I think their first game is Chelsea. If I'm not mistaken.
Oh, was it? Oh, have a quick look.
which is a brutal first game, to be fair. And so, if they don't have a good show, you know, especially with the struggles Chelsea have got at the moment, if they don't have a good show, if they don't put on, you know, somewhat of a performance, I think it could get pretty toxic there pretty quick. And then just looking at the rest of their fixtures.
You got Villa week 2. They got Forest week 3. They got Brentford week 4. Not too shabby.
It's not
5.
And then you've got Liverpool, right?
Yeah, Liverpool September.
So if by September 3rd they're in the bottom 3 because they've not beaten Villa, they've not beaten Forest, they've not beaten Brentford, they've not beaten Leeds, he's gone.
I mean, that's fair shout because, you know, just the logic says if you can't beat those, I mean, you have to beat those teams. Nobody expects you to beat Liverpool, right? But yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, you know, they can quite easily use the Liverpool game if they get smashed in that Liverpool game as a, you know, listen, we're Everton, we can't accept that sort of thing. So yeah, I think it's going to be Lampard.
He did reach sort of almost cult hero status at the end of that last day of the season last year when they stayed up, or the game before, whatever it was. No, it was last game, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, it was the second from last game because they played us in the last game and we beat them 6-1 or something like that. So yeah. Who's your underachievers for the season?
I go back to my starting my top 6. I think Chelsea. And not underachieving like they're going to be bad or they're going to be bottom of the table. I just think, you know, they've set a hell of a bar over the last, you know, 2-3 seasons. Maybe not last season. But, you know, I think just if you base it on expectation versus what they'll actually do, you know, there's part of me is like, oh, Man United underachieve. I don't think they're going to underachieve at all. I think they'll finish exactly where they probably deserve to finish. But I think the expectations on Chelsea are a little bit higher for me.
Yeah. I would second that. I think Chelsea will be my underachievers. I do still think that they'll come in 4th.
Yeah.
I think they'll just pick Spurs, but I think that
that's underachieving
for them. I think that's a decline. Yeah, you know, to think they were so far ahead of Spurs and Arsenal this season.
Yeah,
I mean it wasn't that far ahead,
but they declined pretty heavy.
Right, when you think about how close they were to the other teams prior, and the trouble they went through last year, you know, I think they'll be my underachievers too. Who's going to be your surprise of the season?
Again, I broke the rules and picked 2, but I think Palace will be a surprise, and I got Villa as the other one. Either one, kind of a toss up. I like what Gerrard and Vieira are doing at their place. I got to think. What surprised me watching that, and I don't know. I watched Palace maybe 4 or 5 times last year, maybe 3 or 4. Is just how attractive they are to watch. They just play nice football. And so you've got if Zaha can stay fit, obviously you're gonna get goals out of him. I really think that they could challenge for a European place, whatever that may be. And who would have said that 3 or 4 years ago? I mean, honestly, well, you're obviously a Vieira fan. I can only assume. I didn't think I was like, oh, he's perfect where he is. He's an MLS guy. That's probably where he's going to end up. Do that thing, have fun. We'll see in 10 years. He's come back in. He's done brilliant.
Yeah, I think he's done a good job. I think he's gonna have the same kind of mid-season kind of ups and downs. For me, I think the surprise of the season will be Newcastle United.
Define surprise then. Good, bad, or
I know. I think it'll be a good. I think it will be a good surprise. I didn't put them in my top 7 because I just don't quite think they've got the players needed to get there. I absolutely think they've got the right coach.
Yeah.
And he will get a lot out of them.
Okay.
He'll get more out of them than what we would expect. But the expectation isn't high because they didn't spend what we thought they'd spend in the transfer market.
Okay.
So, where the expectation isn't as high, and you're expecting a mid-table, you're expecting them to move away from a relegation scrap, let's put it that way, and be a more consistent mid-table, high mid-table kind of team. I think they could push for those European places. I think they could be on the brink of 7th.
They're in this interesting spot where everybody knows they've got money, but right now, or maybe not now, but last year, well, it would have to be last year when they got taken over. Nobody wanted to go there because it was Newcastle, and let's wait and see, right? Yeah, you got millions of dollars, but whatever. If they can put together a decent season, now you can start maybe attracting a couple of big name guys, and then maybe the following year, now you've got a couple more, and then suddenly you're like, oh, bloody hell. Now we're somebody,
Yep.
I'm interested to see how patient you reckon those owners will be, based on the fact that I think that is a reasonable expectation, and if they're going to get rid of Eddie Howe, is it because they're just impatient, or is I think he's got the luxury of knowing that he could probably have a average to okay season, right, and be safe. If he has a dynamite season, cherry on the cake. But if he's hovering down at the relegation zone, they're not wanting that.
So I see it a lot as, I see it as being very similar to the way the Arsenal season was. They're going to understand that there's a lot of work to do to be able to get that squad to a place where it can start to look at European football. And so, as long as he's not involved in a relegation scrap, as long as the brand is the brand of football is good, as long as they are looking to implement a new philosophy and there's some consistency in that, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be okay with that. Okay, last one, player of the season.
Mo Salah.
Interesting.
I'd stand by what I said earlier. I think he's been phenomenal. It's obviously going to go to either a forward, maybe potentially a defender, but I think this is a striker that's going to take it. I think he's different class than the rest of the league. I could see if someone like Harry Kane stays fit, or him or Son. I think it just goes to a forward. It always will. Occasional break here and there just for like Virgil van Dijk or someone. And I seriously think he could challenge if he stays good and healthy. And Liverpool will obviously keep winning. He'll pick up the Ballon d'Or.
Okay.
Travesty you didn't pick it up this year.
I am also going to go for a Liverpool player.
It's going to be Nunez,
But
isn't it?
I am going to go for Trent Alexander-Arnold.
There was a part of me that was about to make fun of you. I was like, you're going to say Trent, aren't you, you knob? You really think so?
I think he's going to have his best season yet. He's just been growing.
Community Shield.
Tactically, his understanding is much better now. He's going to start to step into the field a little bit more, and so don't be surprised if Trent steps in and starts to control games from that right back, that inverted right back position, because he's just a phenomenon. He really is.
That's a surprising pick, but only based on, like I said, position for me.
Right. I agree, 100%. Yeah. But I think if as long as you are with the influence you have on the team and that newfound understanding of being able to step in, if he can just dictate tempo and control games with his range of passing, and Liverpool can go on to win the league, which I think they will, he's going to be instrumental in that. So he's my choice.
Magic. Hey, real quick, I'm sure we'll do a World Cup special at some point. How do you reckon we got a couple of minutes left? How do you reckon that's going to affect the league this year?
I don't think it will have too much of an effect. I don't think it will have too much of an effect on the top teams. Man City, Man United. Man City, Liverpool. Right. Man City, Liverpool. I think the other teams who have a lot of players that will be going to the World Cup who are irreplaceable within their teams, I think they'll struggle a bit. So I can see like the likes of Arsenal, the likes of Spurs, Man United, Chelsea to an extent.
Does the African Nations Cup go on every year? It's an every year thing, right?
Every two.
Oh, it's two? Are they having it this year?
No.
So they're going to lose players twice. Teams with African players will lose them once for the World Cup and then again in January, right?
No, I don't think. They won't have a World Cup and then an African Nations Cup within 3 months, right? Because there's African nations that will be in the World Cup. So that'd be mental, crazy.
Thanks for taking the time to watch my video. If you've enjoyed watching this video, please make sure you like this video and make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's going to be a lot more coming. And don't forget to click that bell. Make sure you click that bell, get notifications when new videos drop. This is the place to come for analysis. This is the place to come for informed opinion. Leave your comments here, or you can get me on my Twitter account, sensible_gunner. All that's left to say is, come on, you Gunners.